The run-up in prices over the last year is also due to the collapse of the Venezuelan oil industry, adding to an already desperate situation in the country. The latest blow, inmates say they've taken control of a notorious prison only days before a controversial presidential election. CNN's Paula Newton is in Venezuela, rare access, and joins me now from Caracas. The idea, Paula, that they're going to stop producing oil, or indeed that oil which is being produced will dwindle, will have a devastating effect on what little is left of the economy and on oil prices.
Yeah, and this should really be an inflection point for the Venezuelan regime, because as we were just talking about, oil now, first time in 4 years, at $80 a barrel. Richard, the complexion of the oil and gas industry here is completely different now than it was just 5 years ago. Production, the levels of production so low, they're levels not seen since the 1950s here. What does it mean? It means that Venezuela, very, very reliant always on its energy industry, pretty much its only export at this point, is already indebted on any oil that it does produce. And this has been a huge problem. They have been selling assets and basically using PDVSA, their state-run oil facility, as a personal piggy bank. And right now, as this election is ongoing, Richard, you see, again, Nicolas Maduro just wrapping up his last election rally this afternoon, again, promising that this will be a free and fair election. But many of those in the opposition parties, but also the United States, Europe, other Latin American countries saying that, look, this election is far from free and fair. Many elements of the opposition boycotting it. And what does that mean, Richard? It means that there is not a heck of a lot of hope that the economy here will be transformed from the shortages, from the hyperinflation, and more to the point that there will not be that desperately needed investment in that oil industry here in the months to come, at least.
Okay, but Paula, in a sentence or two, how much worse is the situation than when you were there last time?
You know, it isn't worse, Richard, and here's the thing. When I've been here over other times, the shortages have been acute, meaning even if you had money, you could not buy the products. That is not happening anymore. And why? Because the Maduro regime has been quite shrewd in allowing those borders to stay open. Private citizens, but also companies with hard cash, go to neighboring countries and get the goods and medicine and bring them back in. Having said that, the shortages are still acute for those who do not have money. We also have to talk about the mass exodus. Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans, fleeing to other countries in South America and beyond. And why? Because they absolutely cannot make a go of it here. They are, though, sending hard currency back to this country. I mean, there is a malaise, though, here that has set in, Richard, that I have never seen before, an absolute apathy. And that is because, again, people who have remained here, people who are on the margins of society, are still trying to scrape together basic food on a day-to-day basis.